This is shown and say human facts are fact of life of birth. And that's to say, that's the truth. Whether you're in Venezuela, whether you're in Iraq, whether you're in Syria, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in Ukraine. Human rights are a fact of life. Humanity is a fact of life. It's the truth of life. It's the fact of life that is given to everybody at birth. But certain nations want to take your freedoms and your rights away from you. And that's the sadness and failure of human life. And this is what I fight against. If you want to be pro-Russian, then go to Russia. This invasion of a country is wrong. It was done wrong. You could do things with diplomacy without using force and costing deadly lives, costing death and lives. Same thing with Venezuela and Nigeria, where 270 children are missing. Now, I don't care about the Islamic religion. I care less. That's their problem. But I care about the human rights and the human freedoms that are taken away from these people. And that's the sadness of human life. That's the failure of human life. That's the despicable part of human life. I despise people who think they're better than anybody else or they're better than somebody else, because it's not the truth. Just because you have a little bit of money or you've got money doesn't mean that you have any more rights than anybody else. And that's the human fact. That's the human truth. That's the human life. That's the human reality. This isn't going to be a long show because I've done a lot of videos today. But what I believe is the fact of human life. It's the right of human life. It's the right to human life. The right to live human life and all the rights that go along with it, without interference by any religion, by any nation, by any dictator. That's that simple. I'm not against the Russians. I'm not against the Ukrainians. But what Putin did was wrong. The way he went about it was wrong. He could have went to Crimea and asked them if they wanted to succeed. Then went in and done it peacefully without costing lives. I'm sick and tired of the dying on this earth. Can people understand that? After 10 years of doing this, I'm sick and tired of the dying every time I turn on a news video. Every time I do a news video, it's about the death of somebody, or the rape of somebody, or the torture of somebody, or the sodomy of somebody. Human rights are a fact of life. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the human fact. That's the human right. That's human life. That's for all the world, for all humanity, for every human nation. And this is not right. The way they went about it was wrong. I'm sorry, but it was wrong. I'm not living on the moon, as some guy said. I'm living in the real world. That the fact of human rights are for all human life. They're for all human life. For all human beings. For all human people. And that's the truth of human life. That's the fact of human life. That's the reality of human life. This is some billion human being. I'm not going to make this a long show. But it is the fact of human life. It is the right of human life. It is the fact of human life. It's a gift. It's a way of life to live freely, to live openly, to live honestly, to live truthfully. It's a way to make the world a better place for all people. It's the sadness of human life that people take these rights, that people take these humanities, turn them around into something they're not. And that's the sadness of human life. That's the failure of human life. That's the disgrace of human life. But I fight for human rights. I fight for human rights for all nations, for all people, for all humanity. And that's the human truth. That's the human fact. That's the human life. And I will always do that. I'm not pro-Ukrainian. I'm not pro-Ukrainian or pro-Russian. I'm pro-human being. That's what I am, pro-human being. And this is the show that I do. This is what I do. Fight for the rights of people. I do the news so that people understand that human rights and human birth are human. They're human. Nobody has the right to take the rights of freedoms away from anybody. Freedom of speech, freedom of life, freedom of will, freedom of choice, freedom to do as they want to do. When you do that, you violate all of human rights. And that's the truth of human life. That's the fact of human life. That's the reality of human life that I fight against, that I fight for the rights of all people. I fight for the rights of all people. I fight for the safety of all people. Things can be done peacefully without always using violence. This is the thing in the world. So everybody thinks that violence solves everything, and it doesn't. He calls it a victory day. I call it a war criminal day because he went about it the wrong way. He could have used foreign diplomacy and asked Crimea if they wanted to succeed, and then went to Ukraine and say, look, this is what they want to do. It's a simple task to do. It's a simple thing to do. This is the 7 billion human being truth, 7 billion human being fact, that every human life has that right, and has these rights. They're by birth, and not by nations, and not by Islam, and not by governments, not by business, but by human life. And that's the truth of human life. That's the fact of human life. That's the reality of human life. And I hope people will come one day to understand. This is the 7 billion human being news. This is not going to be a long show, but I support the rights of all people, both Russian and Ukrainian. But stop the violence, stop the killing, stop the slaughter. In Venezuela, Nigeria, where the children disappearing, give them back, unharmed. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because you're dealing with terrorists and people who just want to kill human life and torture and rape it. That's the sadness of human life. That's the sadness of human life. It really happens. This is the 7 billion human being news. I'm not going to make this a long show, but it's the truth of human life. And all people want to live. All people are entitled to their life, to their choices, to their freedoms, to their freedom of speech. If I want to call somebody an asshole, I call somebody an asshole. And that's the freedom of speech. Doesn't mean he should accept it. It just means it's a freedom of speech, freedom of life, freedom of reality. And that's the fact of human life, fact of human birth. Because that's the way life lives. That's what makes life worth living. That you get the right to freedom of speech. Doesn't make it always right. And maybe some of what I'm doing is wrong. But I don't believe that you just invade a nation and take it over. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe in the violation of the human sanctity of life. This is the 7 billion human beings. I'm sure there are people that disagree with me, that feel that are anti-pro-life and like being told what to do. I don't know, but I've lived free for so long, and I want to see everybody live free. This is why I do the shows that I do. This is why I do the shows that I do. This is the 7 billion human being. For human birthrights are the fact of human life and birth. And they are. They are the fact of human life and birth, and they always will be. They're not human rights, they're human birthrights. They're human birthrights for 7 billion human beings. And that's the fact of human life. That's the fact of human life. Nobody should steal 270 children. Nobody should invade a nation that should not be invaded. We did it, now Putin did it. Let's make them both war criminals. Because what they did goes against the Geneva Convention, goes against the United Nations, goes against everything that human life is all about, the freedom of human life. This is 7 billion human being news. Thank you for watching.